what I need to remember, what I will not the first times, is not to pull. Everyone will pull without thinking about it. And then realize once the horse is in your face, I pulled again. Because it's reflex. I did this too. Everyone I know pulls. But it's very interesting once you don't and you give the freedom to realize how easy it becomes for yourself. And especially when you need to start to stop. So once you have a horse with tail up, arched neck, snorting, and you can lead him on a loose lead really proudly with 2 fingers, you stop, he stops next to you. It's beautiful. I'm going to try to explain to you the first steps of how to stand up a horse for the show. And first of all, when I start with a new horse, I like to find a way for her to want to give me attention. And I also try to think about what she sees when she looks at me. And that puts a challenge on me trying to be a good coach for her. So I also try to give as much freedom as I can to the horse and to give her a choice of total freedom, actually always on a loose lead. I try not to work with pressure at all. So when we do a first lesson, it's all about walking, stopping, starting on a loose lead. So I need to try to explain to this horse that we're going to walk, and we're going to walk on a certain direction and on a certain speed on a total loose lead. So I need to find a way to explain this to her. First of all, I put her a training halter. I put the chain on. The chain is actually just for the looks. It sits well with the show halter. For me, it's like a bit. When you ride, you can use a bit as you wish. You can hurt or you can not. So for me, I put always the chain with the pressure on, because that makes the show halter sit better on the horse. When you put it double, like many trainers do, it tends to come loose on the ears. And to me, when I turn, for example, the halter goes often in the eye of the horse. So I try to put the chain on with the pressure, just for the placement of the halter. At the show, I always tape the chain, not to be too long. Because if the chain is too long and I go in front of the horse, it can get into the mouth. And when a horse has the chain in the mouth, in the ring, and panics, it's very difficult to solve that situation. So I always try to put the chain, when I train I put a knot, and I keep it about this length, so that it ends at the chin of the horse. If I tie it or tape it too close, I can also make a young horse panic, because he cannot call, he cannot yawn, he cannot chew. So I like to give enough space for him to open his mouth if he needs. So this is a good distance. She will not have it in her mouth if I go in front. And it's big enough for her not to panic if she wants to move her mouth. So that's number one. And then I have to teach her to walk. And this is actually preparation for trotting. So we put a lot of importance on the walk, on the stop, on the start. Once she gets a hold on the communication on these first steps, she will also be more willing to give me attention. So it will be easier for me to practice the next step, because I will have her attention as a present. When I start her, I try to keep a distance, and I try to look where's her eye. Because if I stand too far back, too far in front, or too close to her, it's difficult for her to see my body language. If I'm here, it's not fair to her to show her body language, because she does not see me well. She can see me very well on a distance. So here she can see how I move. Here she cannot. And I'm also using my whip. This is actually my fingertip. So I need always to be aware about this, where I have it. And I use the whip because my arm is not long enough to communicate with her when I want to start her. So I need also to be aware of what he does. It's behind my back, and when I walk, if I walk or run like this, I might disturb and touch her unintentionally. And I give her signs, because I give her signs the whole time. Many of them I don't even know. So the more aware I am of what I do, the easier it is for me to be consistent to her so that she understands. So when I start to walk with her, I'm going to use my whip as a half circle. And if I stand too much forward and I like to touch her butt with my whip, I will not, because it's not long enough. I'm going to touch her belly, which will make her shoot away from me instead of forward. If I stand too far back, it's difficult for me to communicate and stop her with my whip. So I stay approx at her shoulder, on a distance that I have her eye. She can see me here. So when I like to start her now, I need to find a wordless way of showing her that she should walk forward with me without pulling her. So to be clear to her, I show her that I am going to touch her butt with my whip. I'm not going to slap her, but I'm going to touch, like when you ride, when you touch with your legs. So I'm going to make a very clear move to her that I'm going to touch her butt, like this. I will show you from the other side. Like this, touch her butt. So this is for her very clear and very logic that when she feels something in her butt, she shoots forward. I need also to explain to her the direction, because when she's fully trained, she's supposed to shoot forward when I ask, in trot with tail on her back. If I don't have direction at that time, she's going to come this way, because there's nothing stopping her here. So I need to show her direction, and this I do with my hand. So when I like to send her forward, I also ask her with my fingers, stay away please from my face. Would she come close to me anyway, I'm gonna poke her just with my finger. It's just not comfy. So she keeps away, and her head will show the direction she will have to walk, and this will be forward. So I actually close this door and send her. Good girl. And very fast she will, because I always release when I get a reaction from her. So this move I'm going to make to touch her butt, very quickly she will feel and she will see my move that's going to lead into touching her butt. And then I need to see her reaction when she starts to walk. Good, good girl. Just for my shoulder, I release and we start to walk. So my shoulder makes her walk forward. Good girl. And my hand always stays here. If I pull her to me, I'm actually gonna force her to do what I don't want her to do. I'm pulling her in front of me and she's gonna cross my road. So it takes all logic away actually from what most people are used to do, because everyone pulls when they want to stop. But then you get the horse very close to you, and it's going to be very difficult later to make the horse move forward straight. And it's very beautiful when you show a horse in the ring and you can just look forward, keep your horse away and just run. And you don't have a horse that circle you the whole way around. And it's also much easier for the judge to judge the movement score when the horse goes straight. So that starts here in the very first walk. This is the next step, stopping. So I need to explain to her without touching, without pulling, that we're going to stop on a straight line. So I can do this and she's going to stop, but she's going to stop in front of me. Or I can use again my shoulder and finish the half circle forward to stop her. When I have a horse not knowing anything and I shoot a whip in front of her, it's surprising and she's going to shoot away from that. I will release her and I tell her super good girl. So she will like sending her forward, learn very quickly that when I come with my shoulder, it's going to be the move of waving in front of her. So she's going to very quickly learn to work just from my shoulder forward, stopping. And I must be super fair to her, because when she reacts to me, when she reacts to my shoulder only, I must release immediately. If I don't have timing and she stops just for my shoulder and I still shoot out with my hand, actually I work on making her less sensitive. Because the smaller reaction she responds to, the more sensitive she's becoming actually. So I need to follow that. I cannot smack her while knowing she reacts already here. I will not touch her now because she has her eye and her ear on me and she reacts on this. I must say thank you by releasing right away. Okay. Good. So by this, I can also back her. When I want her backwards, I ask her to stop and I encourage to stop until I get the reaction, which is backwards. So when she is too fast for me, for example in trot, I'm not slow enough, or I need to stop her, I can just do the backward sign. So for this, I already have a horse that's becoming a well-educated, sensitive horse to handle, because I can lead her like this. I can start her, I can stop her, I can send her back. I can keep her away from me with my hand. Or I can turn her around me without pushing me, because she knows to keep away. Good. This is, for me, a good start of any horse. It doesn't matter if you show. Your grandmother can take her to the field, or you can put the child with her, because she learns. It's also an emergency brake. When you're at the show, even if you're calm and your horse is calm and your helper is good, maybe there is another person that's really wild or a horse that is really nervous and someone shakes a bag the other side. You can save yourself by keeping the horse away from you. So you can actually make the horse stay instead of jumping onto you. So this, at our lessons, we're putting a lot of importance on this first step. And once you have this and you have the horse attentive, because she knows it makes sense for her to give me attention, it's much easier to do the next step. Come. Good.